is Kyle B. Thompson. I'm the programming director of the Fort Myers Beach International Film Festival, and we are back for the 16th year. Super exciting. We are back in April now, which is fantastic for those who have joined us the last 2 years. We've been doing this in September due to COVID, but we're back. 2 weeks from now, we'll be down in Fort Myers Beach hanging out with some awesome filmmakers. And as we always do, we're kicking off our virtual interviews to meet all the filmmakers. And we have an awesome filmmaker, a returning filmmaker from last year who had a beautiful film called Agreements with Gravity, is back. Kelli Horan is here with a brand new film called Between the Trees. Let's bring her on. Kelli, hello. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. First off, thank you so much for joining us. Our team absolutely loved your film, and welcome back. I know last year you had a great film called Agreements with Gravity, which I believe was nominated for Best Short Film back then, which is awesome. So it's good to finally meet you in person, or well, virtually, have you back for the festival. But to tell everyone a little about yourself, how did you get into filmmaking? Tell us where you're calling in from, and then we'll jump right into your film.
Yeah, so I'm in Austin, Texas, and I guess I got into filmmaking in school, kind of. I've always liked writing and visual art, and it felt like the perfect combination of the two. So I went to college kind of for it, kind of not. I did journalism for a little bit and, bounced around, but didn't really start getting more serious about doing stuff until I moved to Austin, and there was such a community here where you can kind of collaborate and really pursue those creative endeavors.
Yeah. Awesome. So I know you did, I think you wrote and directed Between the Trees, which is playing at our festival this year. Are you mainly like a writer and director, or do you dabble into like the post side of things? Tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, so primarily a writer. Been doing the directing thing a little bit more, trying to get my feet wet, but primarily a writer. Done some producing, so written a feature film and produced that one and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to have more control over stuff, so I was like, all right, let's try out this directing thing a little bit more. And yeah, it's been fun. It's been a challenge, but it's been great.
That's really cool. So was Agreements with Gravity, that wasn't your first directorial film, wasn't it, or not?
No, it wasn't.
I didn't think so. Let me verify that.
Obviously, I'd done some in school, but, those are like shitty school films and stuff. And then I'd been doing just some sort of rep ones where it's like doing stuff that, can be made for very, very cheap and very quickly. So this was probably the one that had like the biggest production for it, was Gravity. And so going from there to Between the Trees, where there was some more like special effects-y kind of stuff.
Gotcha. All right. Well, for those who are watching, I would love to sort of trailer for your film, Between the Trees, that is playing at the 60th Annual Fort Myers Beach Film Festival. Let's take a look.
You a photographer?
No, it's just a hobby. These are my dad's.
Following in his footsteps, but always stuck in the shadows.
Not really.
That is such a cool trailer. And guys, for everyone watching, Between the Trees plays April 27th at 6:45 p.m. So first off, tell us a little bit about that story. It's such a creepy, unsettling story on many different levels. But, what inspired you to write that?
So it's actually a story I've been like noodling with for a couple years. Originally, it was a feature. And then I was like, okay, it didn't quite work as a feature, and so I really tried to like condense it into a short film, and it honestly turned out more like a mood piece than what the original story was. But I really wanted it to be this idea of who's the real threat, this supernatural being in the forest or this serial killer guy, and so have it be sort of a dance about who's the real threat. And then in the end, sort of maybe something that you thought was scary isn't scary and is actually there to help you.
Oh wow, it's such a cool story. And I was telling you this before we went on live. I had a chance to meet Duncan and Elena in Fort Myers last year, and we have a whole set of new judges this year, and every single person commented on Duncan's performance, mainly being, man, he's really creepy. No offense, Duncan, if you're watching, but I think that he played the character so well, and it was such a well thought after cast. Did you always have him in mind to play that sort of like villain, murdery type guy, or was that something that sort of came later on?
No, so because I started writing it like years ago, even before I'd met him,
Oh wow.
I had sort of an idea that I wanted it to be someone like kind of, again, no offense to Duncan, but like Ted Bundy, to where they could be charming, but also kind of, creepy and stuff. So I wanted that kind of vibe for it. And I think that when I ended up writing the short version and was like talking with Elena, she's like, who'd be great for this. And so just had him, talk to him about the role a little bit. I love working with people that, I know and comfortable with, especially when we were shooting during like pandemic times and in 2021. Right. It was great to just be like comfortable with people and stuff. So yeah, I mean, he did a great job. I think he committed to growing his hair out more than I think he would have otherwise. So.
That was my next question. Did he have to? I remember when I met him, he had very short hair. So did he grew his hair out for the role?
I think he was growing it out anyway, but he was always like kind of going like, am I going to cut it or not? But I was like, let's keep it. Let's keep it.
Gotcha. Awesome. Oh, it totally fits the character. So I think that's, compliments his acting skills. So it was definitely a standout for us. So, so in the film, you had a lot of really, awesome drone shots that, I personally loved. And I think it sort of, for me as a viewer, as a programmer, it sort of made me feel sort of like very small in a very big world. Was that like intentional, or like were those plans to do that, or those were like B-rolls that you ended up using in the edit?
No, so I always wanted to have those drone shots. Part of the aesthetic of the film is based on like hiking videos on YouTube. There's one in particular that we like from Craig Adams, and it's just music and then him silently hiking, and it feels so peaceful. And I'm like, what if you had that kind of vibe, but it was also there is a potential threat there too. So I really wanted to have the drone shots and have it look really beautiful and stuff, to where it's like, oh yes, this person's going on this hike here and it's beautiful, but then there's something else out there. So yeah, always plan on doing drone shots.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, it totally works. And it gives a whole like really idea of, again, feeling alone and just being out in this in the wilderness. And it sort of, I think it enhanced the isolation I think a hiker might feel, which I think ultimately made it creepier, especially when you have, Duncan's character coming in. I don't want to spoil too much of the story, but I think it totally works. So well done. Now, so the actress in the girl, is her name Rachel? Or am I drawing that blank on that one? Who's the main actress? What was her name?
Oh, Danielle.
Danielle, sorry, I don't know. I totally drew a blank on the name there. I had it written down on my screen and went away. Did you know her prior, or was that like, okay, so you knew mainly the cast?
I've known her for about 10 years. She was actually in the first feature film that we made that I wrote. She was the lead in that. And so if I get a chance to work with her, I run at that chance. It's awesome. She's amazing.
Really cool. That's incredible. Yeah. So I said, like, did you now the crew side? Did you know them, or like? I guess the question is, how did this production sort of come about, especially in the middle of, or like at the end of a pandemic? Was there any challenges there with sort of navigating the territory of COVID, especially in the independent world? Did you know the crew? I mean, tell us a little more how this whole thing came about.
Yeah, we had worked with pretty much everyone actually on the crew side. So on other features and other shorts that I've worked on, just, I wanted it to be, because we knew it was going to be stressful anyway, because one, it's an independent low budget film, and then two, because of pandemic stuff. So we wanted everyone to feel comfortable, keep the set as small as possible, and just make sure everyone had a good time, basically. So we'd worked with everyone before, and they're all awesome. We had someone come in from, like, obviously Elena and Duncan came in from LA, and then we had someone come in from Florida. And yeah, it was great. The challenge was just, getting tests done and stuff, but having a small crew and cast really, kept it pretty easy and safe. Yeah, I mean, the hardest thing was just, Texas weather, right?
Right. Was it? Yeah, that's a good question. Right? What were some of the biggest challenges? COVID aside, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced on making this project?
I think probably because most of it was outside, was just getting to different locations in the area. We actually had a really great location. The YMCA Camp Moody let us use their huge, like, kind of hiking camping area to shoot. But just going from like different parts of their park to another, bringing gear around, having, hearing some wild animals out in the distance.
Right. I would have immediately quit. I'm done. Wild animals. I'm from Philadelphia, so I'm like a city guy. But yeah, no, I would have lost my right there.
It was great. There was the best dog there, though, who lived on the property next door named Coyote, and he came and was so curious and wanted to get all the pets on set. It was great.
Awesome. So, do you guys? How long did it take you to shoot this? I mean, I know there was obviously many different scenes, but what was like the total length of production? Were you guys out there for a week, a couple days? What was that like?
I think total we shot, I think it was 4 days.
Okay.
We had 3 days at Camp Moody, and then we had a day where we were at the motel. That was 1 day. So yeah, it's just 4 days total.
That's awesome. It's really cool that you're able to get like locations, especially during like in a pandemic. I feel like a lot of locations would be like, nope, we're good, thanks so much. But it's great that you guys were able to pull this off. And I mean, it looks, again, I would have never guessed it was even shot during a pandemic. Obviously, just knowing Elena and seeing you guys on Instagram and seeing this project fully through, I would have never known that. So it definitely is a testament to you as a director. I think to pull that together and get a crew together to pull off a great project is awesome. So good job. Really good stuff. So I have a couple more questions for you. One, what's next for you? I mean, right, this is your second year at the festival. Hopefully at some point you can come down and join us in Florida. It's the same weather, sort of, I think. I don't know. It's warm. But what's next for you? What do you got working on? And also, where can we, for those watching, where can we find you on social media? Like, how do we kind of stay in touch with like your career and see it through?
Yeah, so I'm working on a short script right now. So I have that out to some places, trying to figure out when and how to do that one. It's about time travel therapy.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's something that I've had in my mind for a little while. It'll be fun to try to like work on a cool like sci-fi set, kind of, I think would be fun. So that's probably the next thing I'm working on. Obviously a lot of, writing otherwise, but you can find me on Instagram. I have one for my like film stuff is Space Pug Pics, and then separate one for my artwork and stuff, but Space Pug Pics for movies.
That's awesome. So going back to the writing scenario, I know you're doing a lot of writing. You just mentioned that. Are you drawn to a certain type of story? Like, I mean, Between the Trees is definitely unique. Agreements with Gravity was super unique as well. Like, and what you just explained to us sounds almost sci-fi type. Are you drawn to a certain story, or tell us a little more about like what are you drawn to?
I think I'm definitely drawn to genre. I always have been, like, growing up, that's what I would always watch, read, still kind of how I am. But honestly, it's like that connection that people can have with that type of material that maybe they wouldn't have if it was like super realistic. They can kind of get different things emotionally than they would if it was too close to reality. So that's something that I'm really into.
That's awesome. So for Between the Trees, right? Well, where are we going with that? Are you guys in the beginning of your festival run, the end of the festival run? What's next for this film? I hope we're not
so
the
we're
only
kind of in the middle.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So I'm sure it's going to play a few more places. I'm hoping to release it because it's kind of like a horror-ish thing. Put it out like around Halloween time.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that makes sense. So all the projects you've done, right? You've done a whole bunch of really great films. I know you mentioned earlier you're sort of jumping into the director side of things a little bit newer than you are as a writer. So you got a great film. Between the Trees is awesome. What are you most proud of this project?
I think honestly, getting it done when we did, I think that everyone was in such a weird place emotionally and stress wise and work wise because of like world events and stuff. So
Right, right.
just in being in the mind space to get something done. But even more so, like bringing that group of people together to create something like that, I think was really great, and having it be finished. But like from like a more practical standpoint, the fire, actually
Right.
making that happen,
That's really
I
cool. I
wrote
don't
it,
actually.
like, there's no way we can do this, no way. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe it'll look real crappy on like a digital way, I don't know. But like being able to actually like do a practical effect was awesome.
That was, I know I asked you that earlier. I guess I'll ask you again. Like, how did you guys pull that off? I mean, like, in the independent world, I know we got to be creative with things, and a lot of times, we don't have the budgets to have like a fire commissioner come out and blow things up. But you guys essentially lit a person on fire for your film. I mean, tell us how you guys pulled that off in the middle of a desert in Texas.
Yeah, carefully. We bought a mannequin and put the same clothes on the mannequin as on our actor Duncan, and lit the mannequin on fire. Had multiple fire extinguishers ready to go, and
That's
and
awesome.
then the editor like had Duncan stand in the same place and got his face and put it on the mannequin. So there's some flashes where you can see in between the flames that it's him.
That's so cool and so creative. I would have never even thought about like a mannequin. First of all, where'd you buy a mannequin? Like, could you just buy them at a store? I didn't even think you could do
Well,
that.
no, we ordered it online.
Okay.
Yeah, it was weird how many of them didn't have just like blank faces, but had like very specific facial expressions. I remember seeing many like angry ones or like multiple with like one eyebrow arched, and I was like, I don't know if we need that.
That's so weird. On many,
Yeah.
it gives me some ideas that you just buy a whole bunch of them and like put them in, someone's room or something. I don't know, something funny.
Yeah.
That's
So our cats were like freaking out when it was in our house. Just like, aren't you gonna give me food? Like just meowing at where's the food? Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I was when you told me that earlier. I was like, I didn't even know you could buy mannequins. I mean, I'm sure, obviously you could. They were in stores all the time, but that's such a creative way of doing it. Well, Kelli, listen. First off, I wanted to thank you so much for joining us, and also, being a part of our film festival again. You should be really proud of this project. I think, for people to want to work with you, especially during a pandemic, right? I think that speaks volumes to you as a director, as a filmmaker. I think that type of community, I think, is going to be really important. So you should be really proud about it. Thank you so much for allowing us to screen your film. We're super excited for it as well. But yeah, I just want to say thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for having the film. I'm excited for people to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, for those who are going to watching, it plays Between the Trees plays April 27th at 6:45 p.m. I'm so used to saying September, and now we're back to April. So, well, Kelli, thank you so much for being a part of it, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye. Well, guys, again, my name is Kyle Thompson. I'm the programming director of the Fort Myers Beach Film Festival. We're just kicking off this week. We have a ton of great interviews. We have one coming up at 7:30, so stick around. That is my Instagram, so feel free to follow me. Come say hi, and we'll see you guys at the beach in just a couple weeks. Take care.